Trace minerals are available from different sources. The makeup and structure of a trace mineral determines how it reacts in the feed, during digestion, and ultimately how much of the mineral will be available to the animal for absorption. Trace mineral sources are distinguished by the substance the mineral is bound to. This substance is called the ligand. If the bond to the ligand is too strong, the trace mineral can't be separated from it, and the animal will be unable to absorb it. If the bond is too weak, the mineral separates from the ligand too soon in the feed and in the rumen. The trace mineral may bind to an antagonist. Antagonists are minerals or compounds that reduce the availability of another mineral by forming a complex that reduces absorption by the animal. For beef and dairy cattle, this reaction typically occurs in the rumen. Antagonists can come from feedstuffs in the diet, soil contamination, or soil ingestion in drinking water. Common antagonists to the trace minerals that are consumed by cattle are sulfur, iron, and molybdenum. Trace minerals with bonds that are neither too weak nor too strong hold together in the feed and in the rumen and resist bonding to antagonists. This makes more trace minerals available to be absorbed in the small intestine. There are three main sources of trace minerals: inorganic trace minerals, organic trace minerals, and hydroxy trace minerals. Inorganic trace minerals have been in use since the 1930s and come in two main forms: oxides and sulfates. Oxides are held together with a combination of ionic and covalent bonds. They typically separate very slowly and do not consistently provide a desired level of trace mineral supplementation. Sulfates are held together with weak ionic bonds. These bonds separate easily, even in water. Sulfate trace minerals tend to break down early in the digestive process and may bind easily to antagonists, greatly reducing trace mineral absorption. Inorganic sulfate trace minerals are inexpensive and were the traditional choice for many years until technology brought new sources of trace minerals to market. Organic trace minerals came into use in the 1970s. Organic trace minerals are held together with a ligand that contains carbon by covalent bonds, which are stronger than ionic bonds found in inorganic sulfate trace minerals. Organic trace mineral molecules tend to stay together and resist binding to antagonists in the feed. Organic trace minerals are available in a variety of forms: metal amino acid complexes, metal amino acid chelates, metal proteinates, metal polysaccharides. Although they offer more nutritional advantages than inorganic trace minerals, organic trace minerals are expensive to feed, so they're often combined with inorganic trace minerals to control cost. The inorganic sources used in these organic combination programs still have the drawbacks we discussed earlier. The third source is hydroxy trace minerals. The newest and most technologically advanced form of trace mineral, hydroxy trace minerals, were developed and brought to market in the 2000s under the brand name IntelliBond. Hydroxy trace minerals are characterized by a covalent bond, like that found in organics, surrounded by a unique crystalline structure. This combination protects the mineral's molecular bonds in the feed and in the rumen, which minimizes binding to antagonists. This makes more trace minerals available at the right time during digestion to optimize absorption.
Chemical structure, basically we're talking about, that would be the chemical bonds and what they're bonded to. The structure, actual structure of the metals, it's going to be the same. It's just a matter of the bonds that are holding it together. In the case of sulfates, as we've talked, you've got a sulfate group, and it easily is removed from the metal in the presence of water. We have also, I haven't mentioned, but we have inorganic oxide sources. These are very tightly bound, and they're not water soluble, but they're also very slowly soluble in acid. So much of the oxides would go through the lower gut without becoming soluble. The hydroxy minerals, on the other hand, because of the crystalline structure of the hydroxy trace minerals and this covalent bonding with the hydroxy groups, it is gradually being released from the crystal molecule under acidic conditions.